Alright folks, this is Mark Spencer. Welcome to my beautiful confines of Surrey, British Columbia. It's a beautiful day, and the NBA Review, Part 13, will be examining some of these movements in the NBA this past Thursday. Let's get down to business. What it's all about. I live for this stuff. Now let's get down to business. So folks, this past week in the NBA, there was the trade deadline, and there was quite a few blockbuster deals. And now we're going to take a look at a few of them. The first deal was with the Cleveland Cavaliers when they acquired in a three-team trade. The Cleveland Cavaliers acquires Ben Wallace, Joe Smith, and a second-round pick in 2009, plus Wally Szczerbiak, and Delonte West from the Seattle and Chicago. And Chicago acquires Drew Gooden, Larry Hughes, Shannon Brown, and Cedric Simmons from Cleveland. Seattle acquires Daniel Marshall and Iron Newble from the Cleveland, and Adrian Griffin from Chicago. So that was a blockbuster. There was at least 11 players in that deal that were in that trade. The former Defensive Player of the Year, Ben Wallace, Joe Smith, former #1 pick of the Golden State Warriors. Years back, he turned down one of those huge contracts. To the life of me, I don't know why you'd ever turn down one of those contracts. It just makes you, say, wow, what's going on? So, he's still a great player. He's having one of his best years ever when he was playing in Chicago. So now he goes to Cleveland. He has to really help him defensively, rebounding, making things happen. And I think Ben Wallace, with his great defensive skills, this rebounding machine, former Defensive Player of the Year, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, Big Ben's going to have to really show up and help out Braun. Wally Szczerbiak is another guy that has to keep on launching those threes, stay healthy. Delonte West is another guy. I watched him play at Temple University. Actually, not some school and university in the United States, and he was awesome. Him and Jameer Nelson were one of the greatest combinations in collegiate sports history. So it's pretty good too. And now you look into the New Orleans Hornets. In a 3-team trade, the New Orleans Hornets acquires Bonzi Wells and Mike James. Bonzi Wells is another guy. I mean, he works hard. He's intense. He wasn't getting the minutes in Houston, but dude, this guy can play. He can shoot the ball, no problem. He's been hampered by a few injuries the last few years, but I still believe Bonzi Wells can get the job done. He's a young guy. He's only like 26, 27. He can still play hard. He can get you 10 boards, at least 20 points a night if he's healthy, gets the minutes. He's a physical player, good defender. Trust me, birthmark and all. I think Bonzi Wells can get the job done for them. And they acquired Mike James. Mike James has kind of been a journeyman ever since he left Toronto Raptors when he had one of his best seasons ever. His best year was in Detroit when he was coming off the bench when they won a championship in 2004. But he's never really been the same type of player. I hope he can help the New Orleans Hornets because they're the #1 team in the Western Conference, and they're going to need all the help they can get. So, from Houston. So, Houston acquires Bobby Jackson. Bobby Jackson began his career as Sacramento King. Bobby Jackson's always been a clutch player, and I really think he's going to help out the Houston Rockets, especially with Rafer Alston coming off the bench, blogging huge minutes, a real point guard that can really help Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming. And this young kid, Andrew Haluska, well, he's going to be a bench player, I guess, and a second-round pick in 2008, so this year's draft from the New Orleans Hornets. So, as well as the rights to Sergei Lechkov from the Memphis, and Memphis acquires Marcus Vacinis from the New Orleans, and the draft rights to Mirik Malak Balandin from Houston. So a bunch of other players, they acquired their rights. is Sergei Leshkanov. I don't know. I think he plays out in Europe right now. Same thing. Well, Marco Vikasness. He's one of those bench players. He's, you only see him in the game. This is a role player that probably threw in to make the deal equal the contracts. Probably those bad contracts, I guess. I've never heard of the guy. Good luck. So Denver, in a separate deal, they acquired Tyrion Green from Portland, exchanged for Von Wafer. Von Wafer has just been a journeyman. That's what he's going to be in his career, just a journeyman. So, and another separate deal, the Detroit acquires Juan Dixon and cash considerations from the Toronto in exchange for Primoz Brezza. Juan Dixon didn't get the playing time that he wanted, so he kind of demanded this trade. He wanted more playing time, and I understand that type of deal. So Houston acquires Gerald Green from the Minnesota in exchange for Kurt Schneider. Kurt Schneider was a great college basketball player. He played at Nevada. He was great intensity. I think he's going to bring some of that intensity to the Minnesota. They need some help defensively. And Gerald Green, the slam dunk slamming champion from 2006. This guy, he can jump through a hoop, and I think that's what he's going to do in Houston. So we'll see what happens. Brent Berry got waived by Seattle. He was just acquired in that Kurt Thomas deal with Francisco Ellison and a second-round pick in 2009, a first-round pick in 2009 from San Antonio. Kind of sucks. Brent Berry, Brent Berry is one of the great shooters. I think he demanded this waive, so I think he's going to sign with somebody soon. He's a great player. And don't forget about the big deal. Jason Kidd getting traded from Dallas for Keith Van Horn, Devin Harris, Trent Hassel, Maurice Ager, Deshaun Drop, first-round pick choices in 2008 and 2010, and cash and considerations for Jason Kidd, Malik Allen, Antoine Wright, and so that was the blockbuster, man. Jason Kidd is a Dallas Maverick. No surprise to me. Jason Kidd's the man. He makes things happen. He's one of the greatest basketball players of all time. So we'll finish up this last trade. Mike Bibby got traded on Saturday, February 16th from Sacramento, exchanged for Sheldon Williams, Lorenzen Wright, Anthony Johnson, Tyrone Lue, and a second-round pick in 2008. Wow. It's kind of busy. And a sad note, New Jersey waives Jamal Magloire, the great Canadian, the former MVP of Kentucky basketball in 1998. So, there's nothing else I got to say, folks. That's the news. That's what happened at the trade deadline in the NBA, National Basketball Association. Well, folks, I love doing NBA review. Trade deadline review. NBA review, part 13. Folks, I love doing this. This is what it's all about. You just never know. You're always trying to get ahead in life. But sometimes we don't get ahead. But you gotta believe from the beginning. February 24th, 2008. This is Mark Spencer saying good night, so long, y'all have a great night around the world. See you, everyone. Thank you very much. Next time I come back, I'm talking who's going to make the playoffs in each conference. Who's going to be lifting up those trophies. Hi, it's Mark Spencer. So long, everybody. Take care.